Ladies and gentlemen, so I mentioned before of covert hostage situations. So what do I mean by that? So as an example, ladies and gentlemen, you know the concept of a sanctuary city. Okay, that was a copy, ladies and gentlemen. That was not the original. They tried to do that in wherever that city that was. So this is a situation that is going on. As I mentioned, this is like Sacramento, like my Aunt Gloria's property, and the rest is Elk Grove. And then outside of that is Sacramento again. So this is a situation at hand of hostage situations. Just one scenario. You have us right here, and then as an example, a person that I know, and I can say I know him because I lived with him for a year. He was my roommate, Miguel Galvin. And then you have us is the intelligence, revered, never feared. And then you have City One, and then Incorporated City One, and then you have City Two, and then Incorporated City Two, and it's supposed to be City 3 and Incorporated City 3 as an example, right? So when he comes here to, let's say, he doesn't have to come here, but he has to come here for, let's say, jurisdictional purposes or whatever, right? And then once the bad people start attacking him, he has to go to a different city, but he doesn't know where to go. That's the thing. Or hopefully he knows where to go, and hopefully he can better help articulate people that and help people establish their conception of social safety. So this is probably what the kids in the hood call probably like trap houses, but that's not it, guys. If you call it that, that's not what Miguel Galvin and I are trying to do. We're not trying to have that definition. So because that's not what it is. What it is, ladies and gentlemen, is literally trying to survive lawfare from jurisdiction to jurisdiction that is against freedom of speech and the Second Amendment. So I'm trying to find out where I could go that is not my parents' house for, just like Miguel Galvin, he is trying, hopefully has other houses or maybe places where he can go as refuge when people are trying to get him. And these places of refuge are refuge because they have legal, they know him. So just like how we shouldn't have people that we don't know, or like subjective synthesis and objective negation, that's how basically guys? That's the thing. That's how information is trying to get across, or not information, life, put it that way. And people have to understand what's going on and see it and let it play out, instead of trying to manipulate people's lives or playing with people's lives just for fun, because that is what's happening. They don't care about what's going on, and they're seeing an opportunity to play with a person's mind or a person's life, and they do it just for fun, guys, and that's not okay. So, or if not for fun, they do it for their narrative story of survival or whatever, like whatever story they make up, that they shouldn't have that as an excuse. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you also have to consider these people that are, they call me too weak, okay? So that's who I stand up for, okay? So I'm standing up for the people that have been spending up too much time indoors, or you could call them nerdy or handicapped or impaired, you could say. I'm standing up for these people, and how I am doing that is I am showing these people how to deal with them, I guess. Like, I'm showing these people how to deal with these bigger bullies, because these bigger bullies, or these people that like to play with people's minds for fun, that's not okay. And not only that, but you actually matter. And that's what you need to know, that a lot of people try to not only disenfranchise you from your actual franchise, but they try to disenfranchise you from your own purpose. And guys, this is proof, guys, that we've never had YouTube before, okay? And we've never been at this point in time in history of the human race. And that's incredible, you know? So It's best to keep reality as it is, not worse or better than it is. So always remember your loved ones. Remember the wholesomeness, because that's going to become, you already know it's very rare, but you have to know why it is rare. It's almost like we have to sneakily remember the things that make us happy. Like they don't want us to remember that, because it's almost like once I remember like my female human childbearing counterpart, or I remember my mother and father from how they used to be mentally healthy and more active in their mind and cognitively there, that right when I remember that, it's like my brain lights up, and then there are entities that seek that and destroy that. And that's extremely scary. And I can confirm that I had this thought when I was in high school. When I was in high school going through turmoil, I had that thought. I was like, man, it's almost like just the thought of that, of her, brings like, it's almost like evil people are like, they're evil forces trying to keep us away, and I even mentioned that before. So ladies and gentlemen, this is just, again, confirmation of the factors of the field of my environment, and how you can use my situation to see common denominators or patterns more clearly in your environment, so you know your next move. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening.